Alright, in this video we'll see how to create this pricing table with the help of setting API. Now you see this HTML is coming from this shortcode. When I place the shortcode, the HTML gets rendered and the data gets fetched from the database and gets displayed over here. Now let's see where to add this input. So these input can be added from the settings top level menu. So this is the top level menu. Once you get down, you'll see a pricing plan, which is the option page. Once you click on it, you'll see the place for adding the web development. Instead of web development, you can just name it as WordPress dev, and you can change the price, and we can add let's say after effects, and click on save changes. Once you make changes on this particular field, and if you refresh the page, you'll see the data that got added over here: WordPress dev 15,000 and the after effects. So over here we are going to explain, or we are going to explore the settings API. So in this video we'll be seeing how to create, how to actually use the setting API to create this kind of page, and once we enter it, that data would get displayed over here. Let's see what are things. As said, we are going to make use of option page. The option page is actually this one. Once you click on it, this option page shows up, and then we have a repeater field. So if you wish to add some more highlights, you can just click on add fields and it will keep on getting added. So we'll see how to create this, and after that we have a shortcode, and we have created a shortcode. Once we use this shortcode, whatever you added in this input field, those data can be visible in the front end. Now we'll be using NQ style to style this card, you can say pricing card. Now these are the hooks and the functions that we are going to explain: admin init, admin menu, admin option, admin page, and shortcodes, and so on. So if you are interested in learning WordPress development or web development, I have a dedicated roadmap for it, and this is an LMS where this is actually a learning management system where you can enroll yourself and learn. So let's say if you want to learn HTML, just click on enroll. So this HTML course has 56 lessons, and this CSS has 104 lessons. This JavaScript has 101 lessons, and this PHP has 20 lessons. WooCommerce has 8 lessons. WordPress theme development 17, and so on. So what I would recommend is, I would recommend you to start from HTML, then switch to CSS, then jump to JavaScript, then jump to PHP, then jump to WooCommerce. Once you master all those, then get into the plugin development. That's when your life would be easy if you are following this playlist right now, or else you won't understand, or you won't have a good grasp of the foundation what you're actually doing. So let's explore the page. Once you get into the course, what happens is you have a list of lessons. So I have divided it like we have HTML, CSS, and we have PHP to HTML, and then we have PHP to Bootstrap, and each of them will have a source code. Once you complete it, you can use it as your portfolio. The main part here, the very useful part here is JavaScript. We, as of now, the course is free. You can enroll it and work with it, and in the JavaScript you will find some advanced plugin. We have hundreds of lessons in JavaScript. Let's say we have a star rating widget, and we have typewriter text, and we have budget planner, the tic-tac-toe game, the car racing game. Once you complete all these, I would recommend you to start from top and reach to the end, and these will act as a portfolio. Once you complete it, you will have a source code in this particular website or in this particular lesson, and you can use it to your gain to get job or a freelancing work according whatever you want. And once you complete what are the lessons that are included here, you can say yourself as you are a confident or a mid-level web developer. Instead of watching random videos on YouTube, you can just follow this playlist, and you would be able to confidently say yourself that you are a mid-level web developer. Fine, let's get into the topic. Now first thing what we need to do is, we want our plugin to show up in the plugins page. So if you see, this is the plugins page. We want to show up our plugin in this page. So what we would do is, we would get into the plugins folder in the WordPress. I have stored it over here. So you can see I am in my website, I am in my local settings, and inside WP content, into plugins, I'll just save it as cards, and since we have used the card as the name, we want to create a new file, or let's just control N, control S, card.php. It should be inside the folder card. It is recommended to have the same name as your folder name. Now to have some information like the name of the plugin, description of the plugin, then we have versions, then we have author name, we would be passing a metadata through comment. So if you see, this is the name of the plugin, this is the description, this is the version, and this is the author name. So this is enough to show up your plugin on this particular page. You have a pricing card, the name, version, description. Now once I activate, what should happen? I want a setting page, settings link top level menu should have another menu called pricing cards. Let's do that. So for that we need to add a hook which is admin menu, and over here we have a admin menu, and after the admin, once the admin menu hook calls, we want our function to run. So our function simply adds a link. So what it does is, we are adding a pricing card. This is the page title, this is the h1, and this is the capability of the author. It's actually a keyword, and this is going to be the slug, and this is the function that would be called when you click on this link. So this is enough. Once you activate your plugin, you should see a link. Click on activate, and in the setting you will see pricing card. Now what happens is, it's blank as of now because we haven't written anything over here. Now what we need to do is, since we are using setting API, the reason for using setting API is we don't have to create our custom table. We want WordPress to take care of creating the custom table. So it won't create the custom table, it will make use of the options table. So it's setting API. Setting API uses options, wp underscore options table, and we want our values to get stored in the options table. We want WordPress to take care of it. So for that, what we need is, we want WordPress to create a variable, and that variable will hold all our data, whatever data you find here in the pricing plan. Let's say these data would get stored into a single row, and that row we need to register it. So to register it, we want to add an hook again, admin in it, and this will register a variable. So we want to register a variable called SPC plan, and this is a setting group. I'll let you know why it is needed when the time comes. So as of now, just understand, to store these values, setting API uses a key. So that key, we are defining it with the help of a register setting. So this is the key that will hold all these value in the form of array. Now that's clear. Now once I click on it, what should happen? This page is blank as of now, but if I clicked this pricing plan, this data is getting pre-populated. To make this work, what we have to do is, we have to fetch the values which is actually in the database. Let me show you how the data is stored. So this is our current database A1, and you should find the options. By default only 25 rows shows up. We want all the rows to show up, so I'll select 500. You see, this is how the data is stored. So for the text, you can see WordPress dev, the price, the highlight, the HTML, CSS, JS. So usually WordPress stores the structure. So yes is nothing but string, and 5 is nothing but the letter count. S is again S but the letter count, including the space. Now what I want to prove my point is, I'm using a single variable which is from this table and storing it into a variable, storing it into a array. Now what do I need? I want to, when the page loads over here, I want the text field to get pre-populated. So to make the pre-population, we need to make a condition. If the value is blank, if there is no value, then we have to make sure to assign the value blank to it. So let's do that. Now we can, since we are using setting API, WordPress takes care of all the CRUD operation needed. So to get the values, what we do is we have a get option function which acts as a getter and setter. This is a getter and setter is nothing but get update. So sorry, just update. We won't be updating it. So now you see, this is the get option and this is the key that we are creating for this particular plugin, and this will hold the title as if nothing is there, assign a blank. If nothing is there on price, assign blank. If nothing is there on highlight, assign a blank array. Now we will be writing a HTML. We will be writing a HTML that will simply have a form. So you see, this form has method post and the option, and the action goes to option.php. Since we are using setting API, it will take care of the CRUD operation. Now, as we have said, we will be using the settings group name over here. So the reason is, when you use CRUD operation, there are some things that need to taken care by WordPress itself. To make that work, WordPress uses a input type hidden field. So input type hidden is used for the nonce or for CSRF token for the WordPress to internally make the CRUD operation secure. So for that we need to use the group. That's what we have done. Now let's initialize the title and price field. So title and price, you see, we have used the key, and since it's an array, associative array, SPC title, SPC price. Similarly for the, so this is key and this is value. Key will be accessing it with the name, and for the value will be accessing with the received value. And this is little complicated. I want you to pause this and understand what actually is, then the life would be clear for you. Now these are clear array. Now inside an array we have another array for highlights. So for that we'll be using the for each. First we need to check whether there is value. If there is value, then we will be using the for loop. Just ignore this. Now we are fetching the values of the highlights. Highlights is actually an array, and we'll be getting the individual row with the help of highlight. So the same key value pair. If it is empty, then just display only one value, and we would be writing a jQuery. So once we click on this button, so this single input field will get populated. Let's do that. And not to forget, after that we need a submit button. So to have submit button, submit underscore button will do it, since we are using setting API. So this is one of the simplest jQuery that we have. Once I click on this button, what happens is, I added a click event listener. When I click, the page would get reloaded to stop that e.prevent default, and I am writing this HTML over here and appending it just before this input field. So you can see $.before append this input field, and that's it. This is enough to show our information on this particular page, and this would also work. Now we need to create a shortcode. So to create a shortcode, it's really very simple. Again, what we need to do is, we'll be using the similar concept what we have. So before that, let's create a shortcode, and this is a function that would call when a shortcode. This is actually the shortcode. We will be using this surrounding it inside square bracket, and we are using the getter function of setting API and getting the value. If there is no value, then make this blank. So we are passing the second parameter as blank. Now we would be writing a HTML. So this HTML we are writing inside the buffer. So you know, this is a PHP variable. You don't have to give much importance to it. It's useful for placing your HTML inside a PHP for more secure way, which WordPress usually suggests. Now focus on this. Since these are single array, we can directly access it, just as we have done on this input field when the page is populated, when the item is populated. Again, the same way we have used the for each loop, and we would be listing it in the list item. Now here it would be very plain. So if you just let me just add, let's say graphic design course, and the price is 5,000. Highlighters, we have Photoshop, we have After Effects, we have sorry, it was Adobe Illustrator. We have After Effects, we have Premiere Pro, and click on Save Changes. Now we'll use this same and add one more thing and one more row, and this is going to be the other shortcode. If I refresh it, you should see another list, but this is without CSS. Now we need to add CSS. So to add CSS, we will be enqueuing the styles. Again, this is a hook enqueue script. This is the function that we will define to add our custom style. We need dash icon also, so for that we have added the WordPress dash icon, and we are saying this is the handle, and this is the location, and this is going to be the name of the file. And inside that we want our CSS. Let me paste our CSS, and that's enough to make our shortcode work. It's not saved yet, you can see. Now if I refresh, yeah, we have another pricing card. So just to give you a, this is the handle, WordPress takes care of it to make this particular link unique. So reason for enqueuing it, so if your plugin is deactivated, this style would get deactivated too, and WordPress takes care of the conflict. So this is the better way of adding CSS to your WordPress, or you can say WordPress plugin. Now it has the cache bursting feature as well with the help of version, so we are not getting deep into that. So just understand this is the unique handle which WordPress takes care of it, and this is the file name, and this is the path name that we are saying that our CSS is actually in this path name. And just after that I want the icons, so I have used the dash icon. So now with the help of this is how your plugin works. That's all for this tutorial. Thank you so much for listening. Meet you tomorrow with another hook. So here the hero was the repeater fields, that we wanted to see how WordPress takes care of it and how the data gets stored into the options table, where it's an array, where if we have array inside array, this is how it gets stored, and this is actually the value.